Good morning and good evening. Today we're talking to Adam David Jones from Zeer. This conversation is brought to you by STXAC Ventures. If you're an investor, please message Adam for a demo day invite. Zeer is a safety technology tool that runs on connected devices to get you help automatically, speed up response times, and prosecute criminals. Adam, how are you today? Can you please tell us more about Zeer?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I am pretty good. This is day 6 of COVID, and this is the first day that I have felt pretty well. 6 years ago, I was attacked pretty violently. I had to help organize a Bernie Sanders rally in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I've been there all day. There was bands and beer, and it was a lot of fun. I got hundreds of people to register to vote. And my friend asked me if I would walk with her to a party, like at the end of the night. It's like 1 a.m. I said, yeah, I'm ready to go. So I'll walk with you, make sure it's safe, and then I'm going to go home, right? And what happened, well, I don't remember what happened. But what I'm told is that this man got me around the corner because he said only one of us could come in first. And of course, I wasn't going to let her go. And he crushed the back of my skull with a cinder block. He then went back around the corner and threatened to rape my friend. Police got there because of the bravery of my friend in under an hour. They got him. He was covered in my blood. My $60 was in his pocket, man. $60. And I was in a coma for a month. When I woke up, I was like, what happened? Oh, you got mugged. All my New York City friends were like, why don't you get mugged in New York like a normal person? And I learned how to eat and walk, talk again and all that. Because it was pretty rough there for a little while. And we go to court like a year later. And the prosecution is like, tells us, they said, he's going to represent himself. And I was like, cool. Well, this should be easy, right? Yeah. Well, I said, what should I do? They said, tell the truth. I'm like, good. That's what I was going to do. He cross-examines me on the stand. I don't really remember this, but I had an attack, a panic attack. I'm epileptic now, and there's some other, PTSD stuff. And then the second day, the jury deliberated, and he was acquitted. Covered in my blood, money in his pocket. Testimony of a woman who said he was going to rape her. And he was acquitted. So, and that's when I dedicated my life to solving this problem. That was in 2017. And for the first year, I just researched. My friend is at first I was like, maybe there's a cheap way to do this, right? Like maybe, but I don't want to dress in a bat suit and try to beat up people in my small town, I want to help people everywhere. I want to empower people with something that allows them to protect themselves, really. And then after doing a lot of research, I came up with a business strategy. My friend's a C-suite executive at Prometric, data solutions architect. My other friend is C-suite for Spectrum, digital marketing specialist. So I got all the brilliant people that I've met. That's been the blessing of my life. I meet brilliant people wherever I go. And we came up with a strategy. I hired my co-founder. First, he wasn't my co-founder. He was a contractor. Now he's my co-founder. And we built Zeer. And Zeer is next generation 911. It's personal safety that's easy to use. Touch a button, say a secret safe word, calls for help, calls 911, live streams everything to a cloud and hashes it and puts that hash on a public blockchain. Oh, and it also live streams the same information to your emergency contact so they know where you are, what's going on, and you can get help. And if 6 years ago this shit had existed, the guy who attacked me would probably still be in prison. At the very least, they would believe that woman's word. So that's why I'm here, and that's my life's mission.
When you created the product, tell us about the mobile application of it and how people can use it?
Yes, that is a great question. So, when I started this, I was like, well, we want to record evidence, we want to call for help, we want to create a frictionless system from when you're in danger to how they get to you and to prosecuting criminals, right? And then I learned about deep fakes is probably one of the first things. And I thought, how can I make my product better? And that's when I really started investing time and money into researching and learning and meeting people in the space for distributed ledger technologies. I had known about Bitcoin since 2013, but unfortunately I did not invest. Wouldn't that be great? Could have built this quicker. And so I built a team of people that were experts in that, including John May, Mimi, Conra, Tamoy's wife, my co-founder's wife. She's incredibly talented. Because in 3 years, someone's gonna be caught on camera. The data is gonna go to the cloud, but they're not gonna get picked up by police for another 2 days. And a year later, like happened to me, they're gonna say, "Oh, you deep faked that," or some other kind of OJ fucking scenario. And no jury in America is going to know the difference, right? The attorney will get their defense lawyer will get up and say, "Oh yeah, deep fakes, that's so easy," and then they'll search online and realize how easy it is because it's getting easier and easier. So that's why I use blockchain technologies, and that's why the Air Force rewarded us with a $50,000 small, I guess, SBIR contract last year to study how this same technology can not just fight crimes, but be used on the battlefield to record evidence in a more secure way. And so the verticals of this are profound. Every time this video could be deep faked, and that's one of the reasons why this technology is going to have to be more ubiquitous across any platforms, journalism, any kind of you understand. It's almost limitless the type of value that blockchain tech can provide to this problem.
For the solution, it sounds like what you're building for the secure cloud storage and hosting component. Also, you can take like a fingerprint and put that on the blockchain, correct?
That's right. Now that's pretty easy to do, and yes, but that is so correct. Our value add is that we can record hours and hours or days and days of video and still put a hash using an algorithm that we developed on a public blockchain for pennies, and still frame for frame, even if you throw out 90% of the video, frame for frame, we can prove if anything was distorted, if anything was manipulated. But yeah, in a nutshell, you're 100% correct.
Yeah, that's really cool. When I was looking at your website, you have this graphic on the website, and it shows what is Zeer, and it has 911, and it has emergency contacts, and you can have your medical info, you can have your location in a live data feed, and that can be stored in the cloud. Then you can encode it on the blockchain on STXAC, which is also secured by Bitcoin. So when someone gets into an emergency service, how do they use Zeer?
It's really easy to use. All you got to do is touch a button or say a safe word, and it calls 911 for you. And as it's doing that, it live streams audio, video, location, medical data to first responders so they know where you are and what's happening. And then when it comes to blockchain technology, it's super, super easy because that data is stored in the cloud, it's hashed, and it cannot be manipulated without people knowing it. So it's the most secure digital chain of evidence in the world, and that can be used to prosecute criminals. So it's easy for the end user to use, it's easy for first responders to use, and it's easy for prosecutors to use.
So it sounds like there's a chain of custody stored with it.
Yeah. It was in late 2017, the District of Justice, the DOJ, said that anything on a public blockchain is prima facie. The DOJ in late 2017 said any data on a public blockchain is prima facie fact. Now, no one else is really trying to do what we do to solve crime using blockchain. Why not? If it's more secure than anywhere else, if the data is more secure than anywhere else on the planet, then why are we securing the most important data like crime data? So that's where we are. We have not tested if in every lawyer that we speak to, every professor of law says theoretically this is wonderful, but we haven't been on the open market yet because we're releasing this week to some early users. But when we start to solve crime using blockchain and Zeer, all bets are off. And distributed ledger technology needs to be in the conversation for next generation 911. There's $15 billion coming from the federal infrastructure pipeline now to develop NG 911. And we need to be in that conversation.
What is NG 911?
Next generation 911.
Okay, next gen is next generation 911 a term used in a specific industry, or is it with emergency services, or with colleges, with cities?
Yeah, anybody in the public safety space understands what NG 911 means. And it is the transfer of rich data to help first responders. So what most people mean is location, first and foremost. Location in many cities, counties, etc., is not shared exactly like it is on Google Maps. The next thing is obviously a two-way audio stream or video stream. But what they're not really thinking about is prosecution of crimes. And there is very few companies in this space that are focused on how you and I interact with NG 911. Everybody's selling technologies to the government, but how do you and I even integrate with it? That's one of the problems that Zeer is solving by making it frictionless from the moment of an emergency to response and then to prosecution with blockchain.
Now, I think a lot of people are under the assumption that 911 has all this location data, and they with the Apple phone, they can just get your health data with a couple of clicks, or they can just call you on a FaceTime feed. It sounds like that's not the case.
It is not. What most of the United States can do is triangulate with cell towers to figure out about where you are, and not everybody, but most of the United States. That could be within 300 yards or more of where you actually are. Some cities have E911, which is location sharing data, and that is much more accurate. But nobody is using VoIP VoIP to transfer that data, exact data like Google Maps, audio, video, location, etc. The 911 officers and 911 call centers do not have the interface to receive that, and your phone is not set up to send that. And that's why we use VoIP to save the data, live stream to emergency contacts, and tell first responders where you are and what's happening to you. And it's not much work, but we can actually do that without you having to say a word, by your Apple Watch recognizing you might have a heart attack. We can tell 911 operators that you're having a heart attack, where you are. We can even live stream your live heart rate and blood pressure from your watches. That's what we want to do with NG 911. That's why it's revolutionary.
No, and that makes sense with what you were saying with the voice over IP, with the VoIP, or with location sharing, or NG 911, which is next generation 911. It sounds like there are some coming technologies, but are you getting in the conversation to have those meetings and let people know, hey, this is where the next budget should be spent.
That's what we're doing. That is one of the reasons that I brought on an SVP of sales and strategy and government sales and strategy last November. And he has 40 years of working with governments and B2B stakeholders to basically educate them on what this should be, and that we are well positioned to be that service. And there are government institutions that have been researching NG 911, next generation 911, for 10 years. But I think almost more importantly, no one is thinking about the breadth of data that could be used and how, again, you and I will interact with it. No one's thinking about using IoT and machine learning to interpret whether I'm having a seizure now that I'm epileptic. I mean, some people's puppies can interpret if they're going to have a seizure. With a little bit of data and crunching that data, why can't our Apple Watches do that? Why can't our phones do that? Why can't our phones alert us that if we're in a high crime neighborhood and we've never been there? It can. You know, we carry around these supercomputers in our pockets, and we use them to troll Tinder.
When you go through your own personal trials, you realize all of my assumptions that I had about emergency services or government, some of them are just completely thrown out the window. It just kind of, it's not a TV show, right? Where it's like the bad guy did this, the jury showed up, and it's the case is closed. In the real life, it's like everyone showed up, and then the guy that committed the crime still went home because we didn't have the evidence. And so then that's really where you realize this is why Zeer should exist.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. We all deserve to feel safe wherever we go. That's a basic human right. Everybody has to be transparent. Just like blockchain technology, you can fake it. Hopefully, over time, build a safer world for all of us.
How did you hear about STXAC?
It came from Mimi, my co-founder's wife, who's again a blockchain expert. I knew about Ethereum. In fact, that's where we built our proof of concept. And I learned about stacks, and I'm like, well, if we're going to save the most important data that we ever want to save in our lives, why don't we do it on Bitcoin? And I learned from Mimi, and I thought, well, this would be a great opportunity. I reached out, and I will say I am honestly pleasantly surprised on how deep and dedicated this community is to solving real fucking problems. That's how I learned about it, and I'm glad that I did.
You said you learned about Bitcoin back in 2013.
Yeah, at a festival, a music festival in California. And the guy pitched me his idea, which was basically Coinbase. It was exactly what Coinbase become. I don't know if he owns Coinbase or just I'm serious. It's like, I want to build a platform so we can exchange cryptocurrencies seamlessly. I'm like, that sounds cool. I could use that on a...
Yeah, like, cool, buddy. I don't know if these virtual currencies will ever do anything.
Right, $75.
I heard about this Bitcoin, but not really sure. And it's funny because the revisionist history is that if people think this thing was a sure bet, but back in 2013, it was pixie dust.
Yeah, it was a pipe dream. Like, the guys could have been smoking something at this music festival and then just came up with it. I don't know. I mean, I got the theory, but I didn't understand the real world applications. And honest to goodness, personally, I didn't care about monetary benefits. I can't eat it. I can't eat the dollar bill. So it's just as fake, really. But if I can save lives with it, that matters to me. And that's really why I got dedicated to blockchain technologies.
What advice would you have for people looking to join the accelerator? And what has your experience been in accelerator?
Wow. So first of all, get in with the community right now. Start, get in some Discord channels, meet people, understand the community. Second of all, there is a pre-accelerator workshop that is already happening. I'm 99% sure, so maybe it's a little late, but look for any opportunity to participate. Maybe if you, I mean, I'm not a technologist, but if you're a technologist and have that skill, apply for a grant from the Stocks Foundation. You know, help build the community. It's not just value that we're building here. It's a new world. And you know, honestly, it could be a new world if we do it together, we do it well. And my experience has been, I feel blessed. Not only has the accelerator taught me a lot, especially on how to raise money, that was a revelation, but the community of people have been very, very generous, giving me advice, taking 15 minutes out of their day to talk to me about their personal problems and how Zeer could or could not help them when they travel to Singapore or what have you. Everybody has been so generous, and it feels like an old theater company that I was a part of in 2006. Like, it's hot. Everybody knows it's hot. You can feel the energy in the room when you get together, or the Zoom or Discord. And everybody knows that it's happening. It's a certain amount of excitement that is hard to describe, but it's a rare type of excitement that I've only felt one other time in my life. And it gives me goosebumps and makes me feel funny. It's great. I really am. I'm so impressed. Not just the accelerator, but the community people.
From the top down, I've been thoroughly impressed since I've been here the last several years now, last 3 years. Just seeing the leadership at the top, seeing leadership from the community aspect. We're a part of the community. We take that very seriously. We want to only voice things that we know are sound judgment or sound logic. If there's like NFT projects, or if there are any DeFi projects and you don't do your homework, then it'll come across as, hey, they didn't do their homework. It may not be the best use of your funds, but if you come to the community, you try to experiment, but you're open, you're honest and genuine. And if you're passionate for what you're building, but you're also respectful to people, you have a humility about you. Like you said, I've only felt that one time in a different group of people that went on to do great things. But I feel that energy and that passion and the empathy and the humility, and that's such a rare breed. When you find a group of people who are the smartest, but they never tell you how smart they are. They only are about the solutions. They're only about making building on Bitcoin, and we're all focused on one mission, and we all have our niches, but it just feels like we're all going in the same direction together.
It's so exciting. It really is so exciting. Yeah, I hope it feels like this in 3 years, 4 years. I hope it feels half as good as this, because this is thrilling. Thrilling is the right word. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It was, again, amazing. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Where can people find more about Zeer?
Well, you can go to our LinkedIn, Zeer, it's under Zeer. Our Twitter is ZeerSafe, Instagram at ZeerSafe, and website, ZeerSafe.com. And you can always reach out to me on Twitter, Adam David Jones _. And I'm happy to continue this conversation if we have the same path to help people.